a markdown wave hit Dollar Tree this August that's genuinely different from the usual seasonal clearance shuffle. 9 specific items got slashed by 75%, and word has spread fast enough that shoppers, especially seniors shopping carefully on a fixed budget, are showing up specifically to grab these before they're gone. This isn't a small 5 or 10% markdown that barely registers. This is a genuine, deep clearance cut on products that were already inexpensive to begin with, which means some of these are now sitting at a fraction of their original price. What makes this particular wave stand out is the category mix, several genuinely useful safety and comfort items rather than just seasonal decor or leftover holiday stock, which is exactly why it's resonated so strongly with senior shoppers specifically looking for practical value rather than novelty finds. Word of a markdown, this deep tends to spread quickly through community groups, family group chats, and neighborhood word of mouth, which is a big part of why certain stores have already reported noticeably thinner shelves within just days of the price change taking effect. Unlike a typical clearance sale that trickles out slowly over weeks, this one has moved with real urgency behind it, and that urgency is exactly why a breakdown like today's matters more than usual. Today we're going through all 9 items causing this rush, what they originally cost, what they're marked down to now, and why they're worth grabbing before the shelves empty out completely, along with a rough total on just how much this entire list would save you in a single trip. If deep clearance breakdowns like this are useful to you, go ahead and hit that like button, and let's get into it. Number 1. The ceramic dinnerware sets. These 4-piece ceramic dinnerware sets originally rang up at $5, and they've been slashed down to $1.25, a genuine 75% cut on what was already a reasonably priced set. The glaze finish is smooth and even, and the plates have held up well through regular dishwasher use without chipping at the edges, which is more than a lot of shoppers expected given the steep markdown. Seniors furnishing a smaller apartment, downsizing, or simply replacing a worn set have been specifically drawn to this one, since a full dinnerware set at this price is nearly impossible to find anywhere else, clearance or not. The neutral, simple design also pairs easily with existing kitchen decor, rather than clashing with a specific color scheme, and the plates stack well for storage in a smaller kitchen cabinet without taking up excessive space. The set also includes both dinner and side plates in most locations, giving a genuinely complete starter set rather than needing to buy pieces separately to round it out. Several shoppers have mentioned buying multiples specifically to have a matching set for hosting family gatherings without the expense of a full retail dinnerware purchase. It's a genuinely rare find at this markdown, since dinnerware sets typically hold their price better than most other home categories even during regular clearance cycles. Kitchenware in general tends to move slower than seasonal categories, which makes a discount this deep on functional dishware a genuinely unusual event worth taking advantage of while it lasts, especially for anyone who's been putting off replacing a chipped or mismatched set simply because a full retail purchase felt like too much of an expense to justify. It's also worth pointing out that mismatched, chipped dishware is a small daily frustration a lot of people simply live with rather than address, and a markdown this deep removes any real financial excuse to keep tolerating it any longer. Number 2. The electric kettle. This basic electric kettle originally sold for $10, and it's now marked down to $2.50, keeping the same core function, quick boiling for tea, coffee, or oatmeal, at a price that makes it accessible to almost anyone. It heats water reliably within a few minutes, and the automatic shutoff feature has worked consistently in testing, which matters a great deal for anyone concerned about safety with a stovetop kettle instead. For seniors specifically, an electric kettle that shuts off on its own removes a genuine safety concern that a forgotten stovetop kettle can create, making this one of the more meaningfully useful items on the entire list. The handle stays cool to the touch during use, and the base is wide enough to sit stably on a counter without tipping, which matters a lot for anyone with reduced grip strength pouring hot water carefully. The lid also opens wide enough for easy cleaning inside, avoiding mineral buildup that can affect taste over time if a kettle is difficult to descale properly. A quick vinegar rinse every few weeks keeps it running efficiently and the wide opening makes that maintenance task simple rather than an annoying chore. At $250, it's genuinely one of the strongest value picks on this entire list, given how much a pairable electric kettle typically costs at any other retailer. It's also a practical starter appliance for anyone setting up a first apartment or a smaller secondary living space, like a guest room or a small office kitchenette, without wanting to invest heavily in a full-price version for a space that only sees occasional use. It's also a smart backup to keep in a car or at a second residence like a vacation home, where a full-price appliance purchase feels harder to justify, but the convenience of hot water on demand is still genuinely useful to have available. Number 3. The weighted lap blanket. Originally priced at $8, this lightly weighted lap blanket has been marked down to $2, and it's become one of the most requested items in comments this week. The even bead distribution provides a genuinely calming, grounding sensation without the high cost of a full-size weighted blanket, and the soft brushed fabric has held up well through repeated washing. For anyone who spends a lot of time sitting, whether reading, watching television, or simply relaxing, this has become a comfort item that a surprising number of shoppers didn't know they needed until they tried it. The size is generous enough to cover both legs comfortably without being so large that it becomes cumbersome to move around with. And the weight is light enough to use during warmer months without feeling stifling. It also folds compactly for storage on the arm of a chair or couch, staying accessible without needing to be tucked away in a closet between uses. A few shoppers have mentioned buying one for themselves and one as a gift, since the calming effect has resonated well with family members dealing with anxiety or restlessness too. At $2, it's genuinely one of the more surprising comfort finds in this entire markdown wave. Weighted comfort items in this general category typically start well above $10 even at the lower end, which makes finding one this affordable and genuinely effective feel almost like stumbling onto a pricing mistake rather than an intentional clearance decision. It's a genuinely thoughtful, low-cost way to introduce a bit more calm into a daily routine, and the price makes it easy to try without any real hesitation about whether it's worth the investment. Number 4. The shower chair. This shower safety chair, originally priced at $20, marked down to $5, is exactly the kind of fall prevention item that specialty medical supply stores typically charge much more for. It holds weight securely. The rubber feet grip a tub or shower floor without sliding, and the seat height is comfortable for regular use rather than feeling makeshift or unstable. This markdown alone has driven a noticeable amount of the rush this week, since a genuine safety item at this price is rare enough that shoppers are specifically messaging friends and family to let them know it's available. It assembles without tools in just a few minutes, and the drainage holes in the seat keep water from pooling, which helps it dry faster and stay more hygienic between uses. The weight capacity has proven reliable for regular daily use, and the frame shows no signs of wobbling or weakening even after weeks of consistent use. For families helping an aging parent make their bathroom safer, this is genuinely one of the most impactful, lowest-cost changes available on this entire list. At $5, it's genuinely difficult to find any comparable fall prevention item at this price anywhere else, making it easily the most meaningful markdown of the whole sale. Falls remain one of the most common and preventable causes of serious injury for older adults, and a $5 investment that meaningfully reduces that risk is exactly the kind of purchase that's easy to overlook until it's genuinely needed, which is precisely why so many shoppers are specifically calling attention to this one over anything else on the list. If only one item from this entire list gets picked up on a single trip, most shoppers who've seen the full breakdown agree this is the one worth prioritizing above all the others. It's a genuinely rare case where the cheapest option on a list also happens to be the most important one. Before we get to the second half of this list, it's worth explaining why a retailer would mark items down this steeply in the first place, since a 75% cut is unusually deep even for clearance. In most cases, a markdown this significant means the specific product line is being discontinued or replaced with a new version, and the store needs to clear remaining inventory quickly to make room. That's genuinely good news for shoppers in the short term, since it means real, Functional products are being sold well below cost just to move them off shelves. But it also means once this particular batch sells through, it's likely gone for good rather than getting restocked at the same price later. It's also worth noting that this kind of steep markdown tends to appear more heavily in categories like housewares, small appliances, and seasonal home goods, since these are the categories most likely to get refreshed with new packaging, new suppliers, or updated product lines on a fairly regular cycle. Clothing and food operate on different markdown timelines entirely, which is part of why this particular wave concentrated so heavily on home and comfort items rather than a broader mix across the whole store. It's also worth understanding that markdown percentages like this are usually decided at a regional or even individual store level rather than uniformly across the entire chain, which explains why some shoppers report finding these exact items at full price at a different location, while others are seeing the full 75% cut. Warehouse and supply chain factors, specific to a given distribution center, often drive these decisions more than any single national pricing strategy, which is why checking your own local store directly is always more reliable than assuming a markdown reported online applies everywhere. It's a good reminder that clearance content like this should always be treated as a starting point for your own investigation, rather than a guaranteed promise, since the underlying store-by-store logistics that create these markdowns simply don't operate on a single, predictable national schedule that every shopper can count on equally. Regional differences in shopping habits, seasonal weather patterns, and even something as simple as a store's specific floor plan can all quietly influence which items end up marked down, and by how much at any individual location. None of that changes what's genuinely available right now at a huge number of stores. It just means treating any single report, including this one, as a strong lead worth checking, rather than an absolute guarantee for your specific location. Number 5. The digital kitchen scale. Originally $8, this digital kitchen scale has been marked down to $2, and it's held up well in accuracy tests against more expensive scales, reading consistently within a reasonable margin across different weights. The display is easy to read, and the tare function works reliably, which matters for anyone using it regularly for cooking, baking, or portion control. For seniors managing a specific dietary need that requires portion tracking, this markdown makes an otherwise easy-to-overlook tool suddenly very accessible. It runs on standard, easy-to-replace batteries rather than a proprietary charging cable, and the flat, low profile makes it easy to store in a drawer without taking up much counter space. It's also easy to wipe clean after use, which matters for anyone using it directly with raw ingredients during regular cooking or baking. The accuracy has held steady over repeated use without needing frequent recalibration, which some cheaper scales require far more often to stay reliable. For anyone tracking nutrition or following recipes that call for precise ingredient weights, this markdown makes a genuinely useful kitchen tool accessible at almost no cost. It's also handy well beyond the kitchen, useful for weighing mail before a trip to the post office or measuring out craft supplies for a hobby project, extending its usefulness far past a single intended purpose. It's the kind of small, versatile tool that ends up getting used far more often than expected once it's actually sitting in a kitchen drawer ready to go. Number 6. The heating pad. This electric heating pad, originally $12, is now marked down to $3, and it provides genuinely even heat across multiple settings rather than concentrated hotspots that some cheaper heating pads develop. The cord length is generous, and the fabric cover is removable and washable, which matters a lot for a product that's used directly against skin regularly. For anyone managing regular aches or stiffness, having an affordable heating pad on hand, or a backup in case the first one wears out, is a genuinely practical use of this particular markdown. The controller has clearly marked settings that are easy to read and adjust, and the auto shutoff feature, after a set period, adds a reasonable layer of safety for anyone who tends to fall asleep while using it. The heat builds gradually rather than jumping immediately to the highest setting, giving a more comfortable, controllable warming experience overall. The washable cover also means it stays hygienic through regular use, without needing to be treated with the same caution as an electrical component that can't get wet. At $3, this heating pad markdown makes year-round pain relief accessible in a way that's genuinely hard to match anywhere else, and having a spare on hand means never being without one if the primary pad eventually wears out after months of regular use. Heat therapy is one of the most commonly recommended at-home remedies for everyday muscle and joint discomfort, and having reliable, affordable access to it removes a small but recurring expense that can otherwise add up meaningfully over a year of regular use. It's also worth noting the cord length allows use from a bed or a favorite chair without needing to sit uncomfortably close to an outlet. Number 7. The non-slip slippers. Originally $6, these non-slip slippers are now marked down to $1.50, and the grip texture on the sole has proven effective on hardwood and tile without sliding, which is exactly the kind of detail that matters most for fall prevention around the house. The interior lining is soft and comfortable for extended daily wear, and the sizing has run true according to repeat buyers. At this price, buying a couple of pairs, one for home and one to keep in a car or overnight bag, is genuinely realistic. The lightweight, breathable material also helps prevent feet from overheating during longer wear, which is a small but genuinely appreciated detail during the warmer end of the summer. The sole is also thick enough to provide a bit of genuine cushioning underfoot, rather than the thin, flat sole some budget slippers rely on. They've held up well through repeated wear without the interior lining flattening or losing its softness after just a few weeks. At $1.50, buying multiple pairs to distribute among family members is a genuinely practical way to spread fall prevention benefits across an entire household without a meaningful dent in the budget, and the non-slip texture has proven itself specifically effective on the kinds of smooth, hard flooring found in most bathrooms and kitchens. Slippery floors combined with unsupportive footwear are a well-documented contributor to household falls, and addressing that risk for under $2 a pair is exactly the kind of low-cost, high-impact change that a list focused on senior safety and comfort should be highlighting front and center. Keeping a spare pair by the bed, specifically for nighttime bathroom trips, is a small habit worth adopting. Number 8. The standing lamp. This standing floor lamp, originally $25, has been marked down to $6.25, and it provides genuinely even, adjustable lighting for a reading corner or living room without the cost of a full-price lamp elsewhere. The base is weighted enough to stay stable, and the switch mechanism has worked reliably through repeated use. Better lighting throughout a home is one of those upgrades that quietly improves daily comfort and reduces eye strain, and this markdown makes it accessible in a way it usually isn't. The adjustable neck also allows the light to be angled precisely toward a book, a craft project, or a specific reading chair, rather than lighting an entire room evenly and unnecessarily. The shade design also softens the light output nicely, avoiding the harsh, direct glare that a bare bulb fixture can create in a small room. It stands tall enough to work well next to a favorite armchair, without needing a side table specifically for the lamp itself. At $6.25, this lamp markdown represents one of the largest dollar amount savings on the entire list, taking a genuinely useful $25 item down to a price that fits comfortably into almost any budget, and the improved lighting it provides can make a noticeable, lasting difference in daily comfort throughout a home. Good lighting is one of those upgrades that rarely gets prioritized in a budget, precisely because its benefits are gradual and cumulative, rather than immediately obvious, which makes catching it on a markdown like this one especially worthwhile for anyone who's been putting off improving a dim, poorly lit corner of their living space. The cord is also a reasonable length, reaching a wall outlet from most typical seating arrangements without needing an extension. Number 9. Saving the deepest cut for last, the Recliner cushion set. Originally $15, this cushion and lumbar support set for recliners and regular chairs has been marked down to $3.75, and it's become the single most talked about item on this entire list. The foam has held its shape well, without flattening after weeks of daily use, and the cover is removable for washing, which matters for a cushion that gets regular, extended contact. For anyone looking to make an existing chair more comfortable without buying new furniture entirely, this has been the standout markdown of the whole sale. The straps included secure it firmly to a chair or recliner, preventing the frustrating sliding and bunching that a lot of aftermarket cushions are prone to after just a few days of regular use. The lumbar support piece specifically has been praised for genuinely reducing lower back discomfort during extended sitting, which is exactly the kind of practical improvement that makes an existing chair feel new again. It's also a genuinely thoughtful gift for anyone spending long hours in a favorite chair, offering real comfort without the cost of a new recliner entirely. At $375, this cushion set markdown has consistently topped shopper polls this week as the single best value in the entire sale, striking that rare balance of meaningful comfort improvement and rock-bottom price that makes a clearance list like this one genuinely worth paying attention to. Chair replacement is a significant expense that a lot of households simply postpone indefinitely, and a cushion set that meaningfully extends the comfortable life of an existing chair offers a genuinely practical middle ground between living with an uncomfortable seat and committing to an expensive furniture purchase. It ships flat and stores easily too, which matters if it's ever moved between rooms or seasonal furniture arrangements. That covers 9 items marked down by a genuine 75% this August, and it's easy to understand why seniors specifically have been moving fast to grab them before shelves clear out completely. A single trip covering even half this list, the shower chair, the heating pad, the lap blanket, the recliner cushion, adds up to real comfort and safety improvements around the house for a total cost that wouldn't cover a single one of these items at full price elsewhere. It's worth remembering that markdowns this steep typically mean the specific product line is being phased out rather than restocked. So once this particular batch sells through at a given store, it's genuinely unlikely to come back at the same price, or at all. Shoppers who've already made the trip this week describe noticeably thinned shelves compared to just a few days ago, which is a strong signal that this particular clearance wave is moving faster than a typical seasonal markdown. If any of these caught your eye, today or tomorrow is worth prioritizing over waiting, since shelves have already thinned out noticeably at several locations according to shopper reports this week. It's also worth checking more than one nearby store if a specific item isn't available at your usual location, since markdown timing and inventory levels can vary meaningfully even between stores just a few miles apart, and a quick phone call ahead can save an unnecessary trip. A few shoppers have also mentioned that asking an employee whether more stock is expected on a delivery truck can occasionally turn up additional inventory that hasn't made it to the shelf floor yet. It's also worth treating this list as a starting point rather than a guaranteed checklist, since individual store inventory always carries some variability, and a store that's fully stocked on the shower chair might be completely sold out of the standing lamp, or vice versa, depending purely on how quickly each specific item has moved locally. For anyone helping an older parent or relative shop, this list also doubles as a genuinely useful start point for a joint shopping trip, since several of these items, the shower chair, the heating pad, the non-slip slippers, address real safety and comfort needs rather than being purely aspirational purchases. Framing a trip like this around specific, practical improvements rather than a vague, let's go to the dollar store errand tends to make the outing feel more purposeful and worthwhile for everyone involved. It also opens up a natural, non-confrontational way to check in on how someone's managing at home, since picking up a shower chair or a set of non-slip slippers together can surface a conversation about safety and comfort far more comfortably than raising the topic directly and out of nowhere. The savings on this specific list are also worth putting in real terms. Buying all 9 items at their original prices would have cost roughly $110 combined. At the markdown prices, the same 9 items come to just under $28, a total savings of more than $80 in a single trip. For anyone managing a tight monthly budget, that kind of difference isn't a minor convenience, it's genuinely meaningful money, freed up for groceries, medication, or anything else that needs to stretch further before the next check arrives. It's the kind of savings that's easy to underestimate when looking at any single item in isolation, but adds up to something genuinely significant once the full list is considered together as a single, deliberate shopping trip rather than 9 separate, unrelated purchases. That's really the core value of a list like this one, not just flagging a good deal here or there, but showing how a handful of small, well-timed purchases can add up to a genuinely meaningful improvement in comfort, safety, and monthly budget all at once. Which one of these 9 are you grabbing first? Let us know in the comments below, and if you've spotted this markdown at your own local store, let other shoppers know it's out there, since these clearance waves genuinely vary location to location, and a comment pointing someone toward a specific in-stock store can make a real difference for someone on a tight budget. If you found this list useful, make sure you're subscribed, because we track deep markdowns like this the moment they show up, well before most people even notice the price has changed. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.